Do you have that one vegetable that is so difficult to grow that you won't even bother to give it a try? For me, it's celery. Why not put away your fears and give it a try? I have done so, and you can too. In today's video, I will share with you 6 simple tips to grow celery from seeds to massive stalks, to massive plants, to massive harvest. Come with me and let us plant celery together. I am Sandra if it's your first time here. I'm a gardener and teacher for over 30 years, and I provide gardening tips to both beginners and expert gardeners here on YouTube. Come along. Tip number 1 is to sow your celery seeds in a germinating tray. Use a very good potting soil to do so. Check on them regularly and ensure that they are properly watered. Ensure that they're thoroughly moistened because you do not want the trays to dry out. If that happens, then they will not sprout. You also want to keep your tray in a cool place, but also ensure that it gets good amount of sun, especially morning sunlight, so that they can germinate. Also, you want to ensure that your seeds are not old, they are not expired, they're in fact good seeds because they will never sprout. That is tip number 1. Are you ready for tip number 2? Tip number 2. You're going to transfer your germinated celery plants from the germinating trays and place them or plant them together in a small container. You're not yet going to plant them out into a big container or raised bed or in your garden. Here's why. Your celery plants are like babies. They need to be weaned off. You have to nurture them. By placing them in that container together, you are exercising some amount of control, because you do not yet want to plant them out in the garden or into a bigger container or a raised bed. Here you are going to treat them like babies. Yes, you're going to treat them like babies. You're going to nurture them like babies because they're very delicate, very sensitive plants. So they need that nurturing in that container together, so you have some amount of control over them. They can grow sturdy. You help them to build up their strength and get sturdier, and so that they can withstand any pressure or anything once they get into the bigger environment or the bigger space. So that is one thing that I have observed that has also helped in their growth and development. So that is tip number 2. Before I get into tip number 3, you may want to drop in the comments for me which vegetable you find challenging. Which one of those vegetables that you can't seem to get right, or you can't seem to plant, you can't seem to grow it? Drop that in the comment. You can write the name of the vegetable or the emoji. Drop in the comment and interact with me. Thanks. Let's move on now to tip number 3. Tip number 3, you're going to prepare the soil. You are going to use your composted material with your cardboard and your greens and your browns and your ear and everything that has already been composted and turned into black gold. You are going to mix that along with your topsoil and create that perfect mix for your soil to accept your celery. You'd have also included in that mix all decomposed or composted animal manure, your chicken, your rabbit, your cow, and your horse manure if you have any of that. You would have decomposed all of that into a nice black gold. You can mix that along with your topsoil. And don't forget, gardeners, beginners, don't forget that celery is a succulent, so it needs calcium to be sturdy and strong. So you can grind down your eggshell into a powder, and you can also sprinkle that in the mix of your composted material. That will create almost a perfect balance for you to plant your celery, for the celery to be accepted in that soil. You're also going to ensure that it is thoroughly mixed through. So take your hands and don't be afraid to get dirty. Ensure that the soil is properly mixed and all the nutrients are properly mixed into it so that it will form a proper base, a solid base for the celery to grow. Step number 4, it's now time for planting. So you can plant your celery in your raised bed or in your containers or in your open garden, whatever you have, you can plant your celery there. If you're planting in a garden bed, your soil would have been already prepared, your mix would have been already there, and your nutrients would have been ready to accept your celery. You are going to place your plants 4 to 6 inches apart because you want them to give them space, to spread out. You want these stalks to be sturdy and strong, so you want air to pass through them, and you want each of them to manifest their strength and grow sturdy. So you have to give them that amount of space so that they can grow up to be healthy and strong and sturdy, so that they can give you maximum nutrients for your green juice and your vegetables. So space them accordingly to create that airflow between them for healthy growing. So what do you think tip number 5 is? We have gone through so many tips. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, pause the video right now and do that, please. Thank you very much. And if you're finding value in these videos, please remember to hit that notification bell so that I can continue to provide gardening tips for you here on YouTube. So moving right along into tip number 5. What do you think it is again? Tip number 5 is you have to give it adequate sunlight. Yeah, but guess what? It doesn't like too much sun. It will burn, it will scorch, it will dry out. Doesn't like too much sun. So if you're planting your celeries in your raised bed or garden bed, make sure it's one that is probably east facing so that you will get a lot of morning sun. And please do not give it so much sun that they dry out. So morning sun will be adequate for your plants. I will be planting this batch of celery in a raised bed facing east, facing the sun, but it is shaded in the afternoon because a house behind me cut off the sunlight at a particular point. So they will be shaded, they will be protected. That would be enough sunlight for the day for them. So make sure you give them adequate sunlight. Find a balance, a good balance where it's not too much and it's not too little. They love sun, but I find that they also like the shade as well. They don't like too much sun. So you as a gardener, try to find that balance, okay? Tip number 6. You knew this one had to come, and you can almost guess what it is already, can't you? Let me help you. Water. Water. Yes, guys, let me help you. Water. You have to water your plants regularly. Remember that the celery is a succulent. If you notice when you break the stalk, it's bendable, very flexible. So it needs a lot of water to keep it sturdy and keep it strong. Remember that it pulls water from the root all the way to the stalk to the leaves. So you have to keep it nurtured, nourished, and moistened. It will dry out on you. Guys, remember from the island, and I speak my local dialect. It will dry out pan uno. It will dry out on you. And when it dries out, it gets very, very droopy. Very droopy, almost like it's dying. So you have to ensure that they don't flop over and die on you, but that they keep sturdy, straight, strong, and that they are growing that way. So guys, there you have it, all 6 tips. If you have a small space and you don't feel that you can plant celery or any other vegetable, watch my next video and I'll show you how you can use a simple DIY trick to plant your celery or any other vegetable anywhere, any place. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please continue to like, share and subscribe. Until next time, lots of love and bye bye. Have a good one. Enough love. Take care.